Hey, it's Mike with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's June 20th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And you can see, looking at the daily chart, we did turn down off the high of this, what I was guesstimating to be the range here. Looks like it was pretty accurate. We did sell off some more today. We bounced. We recovered some of that. So we'll see if we continue to get any follow through. You would think we would probably at least try to test this midline here, maybe the midline of the channel. We're extremely overbought here. We've relieved some of that, so we could make one more push up again before we turn down. I mean, we could keep going higher. Maybe this is not right. Maybe the highs, maybe the midline's further up here. This certainly looks accurate from what I can see. We got the measured move pretty much and turned down. So I think we're topping out here. We'll just have to kind of let it play out and see for sure. It certainly looks like it to me, though. So there it is on the daily chart. And we did recover. We still closed much lower, but we recovered a good bit of the sell off, the early morning sell off. So we'll just have to see where we go from here. We'll see what tomorrow brings. If we get any follow through selling or if we get follow through buying and bounce again. So there it is. Let's flip over to our intraday chart. It looks very similar. It looks kind of like there's a leg down and a leg up. It looks a lot like a range day, but I don't really think it is a range day because we traded well outside the overnight lows. But let's flip over there and I'll. Okay, here's our 2000 tick intraday chart, and you can see that we had this trend working down. It was a little difficult to try to determine where the lows were. I originally pulled it all the way down here just to see how it would work out. We were fitting fairly decent in there as well. So I thought maybe that's it. But you can see we turned up several times before reaching any kind of lows here. So in the end, I believe it was probably more like this. And we just had an overshoot, and that led to this reversal, and we never even attempted a retest. Well, we tried, but we really found some strong support there around 44.35 and could not go much lower. So I think it was an overshoot here in the end, and that still fits really well in the late morning midline. You can see that. So I believe that's correct. Then we have this little spiking channel up here. Um, and that looks relatively accurate as well. So let's zoom in. That's the way I played it for the day. We'll zoom in here. We'll go through the trades and we'll wrap today. Not a ton of trades, but there's more than enough here and really good trades too. So um, you had to be a little patient and kind of wait this morning. 7 o'clock came as we're kind of correcting and turning up here, and there's a second entry short there right off the key entry point, but the signal bar just is not very good, and it's a very nice move. So if you had a good signal bar, by all means, take that trade right there. Um, and you'd ride that down, but it just didn't set up on my chart. Of course, it bounces, it comes back, and you get a first entry and another second entry right, and this one's right off the key entry point, and you got to, I mean, it's only like 5 ticks, very low risk. If you wanted to be a little more a little more patient and wait on something just to guarantee we were going lower, just a little more information, the lower high right there. And again, I think it's 5 ticks, 6 ticks, something like that. And so either one of those would have been nice trades. You don't get a big runner here. You would have got a runner, but it wouldn't be a huge one. And then, of course, you had another second entry here. But again, the signal bar is not good. And then we just went sideways. And so I don't think you can enter in that. If you had a decent signal bar up here, by all means, take it. It's a second entry. Actually, it's not. The second entry was right here. Um, and I definitely wouldn't take that second entry on the engulfing bar. You had to wait for this to close, and then it never triggers. And, of course, we're running down. Then you get a quick second entry with another nice move down to the midline. And again, it's like 6 ticks. I mean, these are nice signal bars. They allow you to enter with an 8-tick rule. So this is what we like to see. This is the bar sizes are kind of getting back to normal here. So there's another one you can enter under the 8 tick rule, and maybe you get a runner on that one too. We do correct, get a break outside the trend line, so now we're looking for a retest of the lows, and we just start kind of going sideways. I wouldn't take a long in here yet, especially still below the EMA, but notice we get a failed breakout, and it also just happens to be a second entry short. We're not looking for second entries, but if you get a break, if you get a breakout that happens to be a second entry, pay attention to it. Um, but either way, it's a failed breakout with another small signal bar again. 6 ticks. So again, you can get in that with an 8 tick rule, and this time the bottom falls out of this one, and you might catch a runner depending on how you played it. This one just keeps going all the way down. So this was a really nice setup. I don't see anything else in here once you get this break and move to a new low. I don't see anything, and you don't really want to be picking a bottom yet because this is a really strong move down, and it's hard to know where this lower trend channel line was. So you're kind of guesstimating it, so to speak. There is a failure here, but it closed below the EMA. You might take that trade, but it looks a little congested to me. If you took it, it works, but I'm just not crazy about it. You even tick back again and failed and turn up, but I don't think you want to go long right into those highs. So I just don't see a trade there. But if you're patient, a few minutes later it comes back here, and it gives you a second entry right here. This is tempting, but that looks a little congested. You might take that trade because it does confirm the trend line. It is a nice reversal bar, and it did break below that little 2-bar matching low. So maybe you take that second entry. But if you want to play it safe, see if you get a higher low or a reversal, and you get a higher low here, and you even get a reversal here. But the problem is that reversal does not give you a lot of room back to the highs. You may take it anyway because they're usually traps. And this one actually would have allowed you to enter on the engulfing bar. I wouldn't have a problem entering that one on the engulfing bar if I like the trade, which I do. The only problem is that midline, but it's hard to know where that midline is. At this point, I was thinking the midline was still more like this. So that would probably make that a go if you traded that on the engulfing bar. So maybe you take that trade. I marked it. I marked it green. But again, afterwards, I do believe this is up here. You probably could have figured that out once we really never came back and tried to make a retest pretty quickly. By the time you've been trading this long and you bounce off this trend line again, of course it's after 2:30. Then by the time you get this really strong move up, you got to assume, hey, we could be going higher here. Maybe you're turning down here, and maybe you were turning down for a retest, but we never get anywhere with it. So you got to be really careful there. But again, it comes back to this trend line. Again, you can't really enter in this congestion. But notice you make a new low and you try to go lower once, twice. That's a good failure. Plenty of room to that high. Take that one. And you can see you would have got 2 legs up on it. And then it comes back to this trend line again. I did not mark this one because it just looks, again, it looks really congested. Your hope is you get a higher low or a failure or something. And you can argue there's a failure here, but it doesn't come back to the EMA, so it doesn't set up properly. So I didn't mark it. I don't think you can take it. You just didn't get another chance to enter this all the way up until it went higher here. There is a higher low right here, and this one I didn't mark, but it's a possibility. I think the signal bar qualifies, but it looks like it closes so close to being below the EMA. And clearly you can see you got a leg down, 2 legs up, and another leg down. So that could be the a center of a pattern there. At the very least, you probably get another leg up, which you do. You did already have a break in a new high there, but when you get that 2 legs with 2 legs in the middle, you got to be thinking, hey, this thing could make another run higher, which it does. So maybe you take that trade. I'll mark it green. If you took it, I think you're being a little risky there, but there's reasons to maybe take that trade, as you see here. You could also argue another reason that you might take that trade is you could argue that there's a range here. and that it's a failed break lower. But see, notice how it closes really below where you would probably mark that, and you might even mark this here and treat this like a failed breakout. So, and then you're still below the. But even if you played this best case scenario on my chart, you're still closing below it. So, um, but that's another reason to take it. So, failed breakout, most likely we're in an uptrend, so it's probably going to trap people to the low side and turn back up and run their stops, which is what it did. And then it turns down off the high of the trend channel there. And then notice you got a new high, first entry, second entry. So that's a failed, actually it's a failed second entry right here, but then it's a first entry, second entry. So it's a second entry short, confirms the trend line, nice signal bar. I like going short there. We should be coming back to at least the midline and maybe all the way the other side, which we end up doing, but it kind of goes sideways from there on. But that was its ultimate target, as you can see, before it bounced again. But that was the last trade I marked. You do get a break here. I think you need a lower high or something there, though. As you can see, you got a first entry, second entry, third entry, and so it's a little risky going short right in there. I mean, that all looks congested too. 1, 2, 3 in a row before you get your second entry. So see if you get a lower high, and then it makes another higher high, and you just never really get a setup there. I don't think you want to go short there either. And you want to at least wait till you get back to the trend line to go long. Maybe you take a failed breakout here, but look how congested it is. So that kind of rules that out. If it just would have been a strong signal bar and went higher, maybe you go high along there. But I'd probably wait for it to come back to this trend line, which it does. And then you can see you get a nice bounce here. Again, I don't think that signal bar qualifies. So even if it was still inside the 230 window, I don't see taking that trade. And that kind of wrapped it up. So not a lot of trades today, but there's some pretty good, fairly decent trades and some pretty good moves there on a couple of them. It's just kind of a slow, sideways kind of day. So they erased the selling pretty quickly. And we did end up closing. We closed down today from the previous 2 days still, but we closed way off the lows, about halfway off those lows. So mixed kind of trading day, but it's clearly a down up day. So that's how I saw it. Not much else you can say about this day. If you were patient, the trades were there right off the key entry points, or failed breakouts or so forth. So it wasn't too difficult a day. Wasn't one of the best days we had, but it wasn't a very difficult day either. With some, and you probably would have got a runner or two. Not a huge. You might have got a huge runner if you caught one of these, but for the most part, there were no really big runners except for maybe this one. So anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush today. I'm trying to catch up. It was a short week already last week because I was out a couple of days, and then first thing you know, this week there's another holiday. So I'm still trying to catch up. I'm going to get back in the forum. I'm pretty much close on my email. I'll get caught back up by tomorrow, and I'll try to get back into the forum. And I know there's probably some stuff in there I need to answer. But it's just been a little hard with me being out and the holiday and everything else. So, but I'll be caught up here in a day or so, and hopefully we'll stay on track until I decide I'm gonna take some more time. I'll probably take some more time off this summer. Not sure when yet. It'll slow down this summer. That's the time to take your vacation. Try to get it over with before the fall when things will kind of kick back up again. So hopefully. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.